So let's welcome Nick Wilsdon to Benchmark 2016.
Hello. Is this working okay? Everyone can hear me? Yep, brilliant. So yeah, no, thanks for being here today. And I get a chance to talk to you about mobile. I'm fairly obsessed with mobile. Let's see if we get the slides. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I'll take it back. Yeah, I'm fairly obsessed with mobile. Just to give you a bit of background on myself. I'm the SEO lead at Vodafone. So I basically run the project across the entire group. So sort of 23 markets, 72 partner markets. And a lot of my work is around on-page SEO, but also in terms of mobile. So I'm helping kind of push mobile. We've got 438 million mobile customers. So we're fairly focused on providing a better experience for them. So mobile is something I spend a lot of my time on. I'd like to kind of introduce you to some aspects of what's available now, what's been released, and make sure that you've got a good kind of overview of what's available. I'll start off with some background, because I want to kind of set up the picture and let you know where mobile is. And some of this will be kind of familiar to you probably. Mobile has become the primary way to go online. We're spending more time on mobile than on desktop, massively. You probably know this. You're accessing mobile on the train, you're accessing when you're traveling. You're engaged with your phone much more than you are with your desktop. And we've seen this in the figures. I mean, these figures come from consumerbarometer.com, which is a very good source. It's a Google source of data. So I'd recommend you go and have a look for this. And this is a study really across all of the markets, well, all the markets globally. But I'll give you some specific figures here. You can see that in terms of the UK, it's a little bit small up there. And the question is, I access the internet primarily on mobile. So 27% of people in the UK access the internet primarily through mobile. And we see this in other countries. South Africa, 69%. India, 57%. These figures have been growing every year. I've been watching this data very, very closely. Mobile, we've talked about mobile for years, and I think we talked about this last year. Now is the year of the mobile, and it really has gone very much past that point now. We've gone past this tipping point. We've gone way past the tipping point on mobile. As Google said in the recent I/O conference, they said that half their connections come from mobile now. So that's come from Google. We found that, I've got Google here to confirm that. We've seen that at Vodafone. I think when I came and spoke last year, we had one market that had more mobile traffic than desktop. I've now got 8 markets that have overtaken desktop. So this is a very rapidly happening trend. But there is a problem, and this is probably, I'll highlight this for Google. I'm sure Google knows this. The problem is that people aren't using mobile to purchase. So we're all transitioning. We're all transitioning from desktop. We're moving to mobile, but people can't use mobile to purchase. And you can see in terms of the figures here, again, go to Consumer Barometer and you get a much, because the figures here are quite condensed, but you can see that only 7% of people in the UK actually convert on a mobile. And these are Google's figures. So this is deeply worrying because the web is all about transactions. It's all about conversions. So you can see the trend here and the problem that we're increasingly using mobile, but we're not able to convert on mobile. And Google themselves have done some research behind this to sort of identify why this might be. And they kind of said, what problems do you tend to get into when you run to a website, what problem on a website on a mobile? So 15% continue to use the same site on a smartphone. 50% use the same site but on another device. And that means they've basically gone to their desktop. And I think that's a very common solution for most of us. We go to something, we go to a site on a mobile, but then we convert on our desktop. And the reason that conversion figures are high on desktop is not that desktop is better than mobile. We're not spending more time on desktop, but we can convert on desktop. And that's a very important point with mobile desktop equation. 24% find another website. So a quarter of your audience go off and find another website that works better. That's a bit worrying. You've lost a quarter of your audience like that. 7% go and visit the store. That's not brilliant because we're kind of trying to reduce our support costs. And 25%, the optimists, come back again later to see if you fixed it. So yeah, there's problems, but I want to tell you there are some people who have done it very well. Dominos is my favorite case study because I worked quite a lot on Dominos when I was on agency side. And when we first launched the app, it was a big push. We got the app out there, and we had 1% in 2012 conversions. The following year, we took up to 27%. Last year when I talked, it was at 40%, and this last year it's gone to 50%. So 50% of Domino's orders come through the app. And that's an amazing success story. Now, why does that work so well for Domino's? That's the question. Obviously, a lot of people, I mean, how many people here have downloaded the Domino's app? Yeah, so it's had a lot of coverage, but hasn't had a lot of marketing spend behind it. The main reason it's worked is they've reduced friction. They made it easier, and it's the same thing that worked for Amazon. Amazon have introduced the one click, and they've reduced the number of steps that it takes for you to go through that process. And that's basically the reason why mobile works so well. You've reduced the number of steps to get to that conversion. I wanted to give you this URL. If you've got it there, take a note of this. This was the Google I/O conference. If you get time, it's sort of half an hour, you should go and watch this. And they'll take you through a lot of the new releases that they've done for mobile. So you get an idea of what's out there. I'm going to take you through some of them myself, but I'll give you kind of my spin on them. Cheers. Okay, so this is how Domino's has done it, and this is how Google says we should do it. Accelerate, engage, convert, retain. This is the framework that Google has given us to a successful mobile strategy. And I'll kind of use this framework to take you through some of the toys that they've now given us to enable us to make mobile work better. Now, the first one, accelerate. How many people here have heard of AMP? So a few of you. Accelerated mobile pages. This is, Google have released a framework that allows us to kind of strip down what's on a web page and produce a very, very lightweight web page for search. And in this one, they've had amazing success with these. The case study up there, you can see that load time's been reduced drastically. People are then returning to the site. It's been a massive success story because they've made life easier for someone on a mobile. How many people here have got WordPress or are using WordPress in part of their business? Brilliant. So, I mean, all of you can move to AMP straight away. It's really easy. There's one single plugin to install to set AMP up on your website. It's free. You can do it now. When you'll find the plugin very easily, but it's Yoast's plugin. This plugin will then make your pages AMP-friendly. It'll put them into search. It'll do everything for you. And Google will then give you the results and how well those AMP pages have been created and indexed in the Google Search Console. So if you're on WordPress, move to AMP straight away. The question then kind of comes up, who should use AMP? Which is the next question. It depends very much on the type of website you have. AMP is designed for publishers at the moment. It's very good if you've got if you're publishing content, then AMP's perfect for you. If you've got a more complex website with conversion, with e-commerce, this kind of thing, then AMP may not be the solution yet. But if you're producing content in your blog, you're producing articles, videos, then AMP is something you should do straight away. You'll get additional coverage. We're talking about visibility. Well, Google is pushing AMP pages because, for all the reasons that we've been through in the framework, Google needs a faster web experience. So Google's giving preferential real estate to AMP results for publishers. So go and have a look at AMP. It's a very exciting development. And this is kind of AMP version 1. And they promised that, AMP version 2, this will start to incorporate commerce. So as they've stripped everything back initially, they'll then start to introduce some more features into it. So this is a good toy. The next thing in terms of acceleration, they've given us 2 other projects. We've got the next stage of faster apps, faster web pages. And I talked about this last year. I said the connection between web pages and apps is getting increasingly confused. And I think for a lot of people, they won't know in the future if they're on an app or they're on a web page. The relationship is getting very, very close. And they've done that by producing progressive web apps, which is something else that's available right now. This basically allows you to use service workers to sort of use some of the features of the phone and to do some of the work, make the web page basically appear offline. You can download that web page to the home page of your phone. It gives a kind of lightweight install. and it kind of works with service workers on and offline. You might think about apps, and most people think apps have to work offline. How many people here have the Facebook app? I mean, everyone. What happens when you go in the tube? You know, it turns off, doesn't it? So people think that the Facebook app is actually a proper, you know, it's an offline app. It's not. We're all using APIs now. So when you go on, you're on the underground, you go out of connection, Facebook actually turns off now. So we can kind of do the same creation with progressive web apps. They'll give you the functionality of the phone, they'll install to the phone desktop, and they'll allow you to do some of the cooler stuff that you can do on the app side. They'll allow you to do push notifications. I'll go into push notifications in a minute. That's one of the other big things that have happened. But it's a good way. People kind of ask, what should I be developing now? You know, should I be developing a fully native app? Should I be developing a hybrid app? Should I be looking at progressive web apps? And that's a big question for every business. It will depend on what you need the app to do, but for a vast majority of cases, if you don't need a lot of heavy lifting, you should be looking at progressive web apps. They'll allow you to take your website, responsive website, package it up, you can do a hybrid app, and you can also add some of these progressive web app features onto your website. Coming up fairly soon, it's not been released, but we've got Android Instant apps, which one of the biggest problems we have with phones is space. No one's got enough space on their phone. So Google have actually looked at that, and they've said, well, we can help you. We'll allow you to use apps without downloading them. So that's going to be a major change. Suddenly, people aren't going to be so worried about downloading those 4 or 5 apps on their phone. They'll use apps far more frequently because they're not using up the space. So Android Instant Apps is, again, something to look at. These developments might look kind of weighted towards Google, and I think this is kind of the interesting thing in the mobile space, is that people are coming out with new techniques, and they're not necessarily, while Google may be leading one area, then Apple is then coming in on the other area and developing things in a similar way. So a lot of these techniques are then working across platform. Saying that, you know, progressive web apps, I know that Edge is already looking at it on the Microsoft side, so they're actively on it. Safari, it's in their plan, and yeah, we'll sort of see how that goes. The next side, we've got Engage. These are other opportunities you have to engage with your client, with your customers through mobile. The first one is Schema. How many people are here using Schema on their websites? Quite a lot of you. Yeah, I mean, that's great. We've now got featured snippets, but now we've got the next stage on, which is rich cards. So Google is giving you Schema to mark up the page and put these rich cards into the search results to give you additional visibility. At the moment, these are available for movies and recipes, but products is literally around the corner. So you should get ready now for products to be released. Voice Assistant. James talked a lot about the future of search and you know, how search is evolving into voice. So, you know, practically, how do you get ready for that? It's a big thing, it's futuristic, it's sci-fi. Well, as a business, you can get ready for that by sorting out your citations and the information that you have online. If you think about voice search, how it's going to operate, they're going to need SEO and optimization more than ever, because in order to find those businesses, in order to find the right result for voice searches, they need the information to be correct online, so they need your local to be set up correctly. If you're a large business, you should be looking at systems like Yext or Uberall to manage all your local listings. Start managing all your information online in the multitude of places that it is online to connect with voice search. That's the best way you can get ready. Smart app banners is, again, something we've got quite excited about. You've probably seen these when you're scrolling around on the mobile web. They're little banners at the top that say, you know, would you like to download the app? Has everyone seen these? Yeah, and they're fairly common now. There's been some, the initial versions that you've probably seen weren't smart, which sounds a bit funny, so everything's been released as smart banners. Smart banners are actually smart because they interact with your phone. So there's native code for Android, there's native code for iOS, and they're smart because they know if you've got the app already. If you haven't got the app, it'll direct you to download the app. If you have got the app, it'll direct you to open the app. That's what makes them smart. But there are some sort of JavaScript implementations of that are out at the moment. But this is a great way of increasing the number of people that are engaging with your app. We've had up to sort of 30% increase in app downloads by introducing these into a market. So amazingly useful. The one I'm most excited about, I think, is app indexing and linking. There's a whole new way of linking in mobile. We can index what's in the app, we can index pages and within the app, and we can put them into the search results. So to give you a practical example of that, in India I have 500,000 people a month looking for recharge, which is the Indian term for top-up. So this is a huge search volume, and all of these people are going to the same web page. So by deep linking the app into that page, I can then take the user directly into the app and get them to top up without authenticating. So they've already authenticated through the app. I've then reduced several steps, take it into a one-step process, and push downloads of the app massively into that market. And that's quite interesting when you consider that for some of us that have got apps, we're actually spending money on marketing those apps. You know, we're sitting there pushing them on PPC or pushing them out in all these other ways. You know, we can just look at the activity that your users are actually doing and find ways of linking through to that app. We have deep deferred linking or dynamic linking, which is a new one, which will, if you haven't got the app already, it will then take you to the App Store, download the app, and then open the app on the correct page. So again, that's really interesting because, and it'll work out, it's dynamic, and it'll work out if you're on iOS or if you're on Android, it'll know that. You can do that through the Firebase platform, which is offering dynamic links, and that's free. That's very clever because if you think about this new form of linking, we can then send out, and we are going to send out these links in SMS messages. We're going to tell our customers in a country to pay their bill, send them out an SMS message. They're going to click that link, download the app, and pay their bill. We've then taken what would be, you know, several, I think it's 7, 8 steps, and reduced it to a single step. So that new form of linking is very, very useful, and I think you're going to see that being used a lot. The idea of sending someone to the App Store to get the app will be a bit defunct, because why are you doing that? You want to send the user to go and do something specific, and then downloading the app is it's a side product of that. Conversion, so this is the final bit, you know, how do we convert? And Google again have kind of come in with credential management. We know that when users type in the wrong login info, 92% of them give up, rather than go through that lovely process that you have for the password reminder and the email and the check and the redo the password. They simply don't do that. So anyone who's got any kind of authentication process, you need to have a good think about whether you need to move to a social login. Some kind of other authentication login. An interesting project really we're doing at Vodafone, which I can tell you about, is we've developed our own authentication login, which is going to probably upset Google a little bit. But it's actually, in a lot of ways, it's more secure than Google because we know more about the customer because they've actually come to get a phone from us. So they've given us a photocopy of their passport, we've seen bills, we've got physical evidence about who that person is. We can then authenticate them, and we can provide an API, which you could then use as a business to authenticate your customers and to reduce fraud. You'll use telecom data, and it won't just be Vodafone that will be doing this, it'll be all the other telecoms that are doing this. So there'll be a lot of APIs that are going to be released over these next couple of years. It'll be very useful on this front to reduce the number of steps. With that API, you could literally take someone from a guest login all the way through to purchase without asking for a single bit of information from them. Conversion rate optimization is a big part of conversion, and it's essential on mobile. And I'd say on top of all these tools, you ought to be thinking about your conversion rate optimization is as much a part of SEO, mobile SEO, as anything. How can you increase that conversion? Google have given us a lot of assistance on that front to identify problems on a mobile website. But again, taking you back to the Dominos example, you've got to think how you can keep doing iterations, how you can keep making this easier. And every time you make this easier, you will see a massive upswing in customers and conversion. Retain. This is push notifications, and I think you're going to see a lot of these in the future. And I think this is incredibly clever. The idea is that you can be on your phone, you can not be on the website or on the app itself, but I then push a notification to you and tell you that you have something left in your basket. Or better still, I push a notification to you and tell you that the thing you had in your basket, you can then have 20% off on if you'd like to convert now. You can imagine that's quite a powerful tool. And you can add that, when we go back to progressive web apps, you can add that to your website now. So you don't need an app, you can just add that to your website, that functionality. I think that's going to get abused quite badly in the next few months, so we'll kind of see how this all pans out, because I've seen people kind of using this to push notifications on their recent blog posts. And please, if you're doing that, don't use this tool for that. Let's try and keep it for things that are actually useful for sort of transactions and conversions. But yeah, these are some of the toys that we now have in the mobile space, and this is why Google's saying that the mobile web is open for business now. They've given us a lot of functionality that we didn't have before to make our websites more like mobile apps, to make them faster, to make them more effective, to reduce the number of steps that we're requiring our customers to jump through. So, please be aware of some of these developments. So key steps in your mobile strategy. I want to give you some steps now. If you haven't gone down this road, these are the things you should be thinking about right now. Firstly, responsive web design. I mean, we used to have arguments about responsive web design. Should we be responsive? Should we not be responsive? Well, this answers that. I mean, the mobile revolution has completely answered that question. There is no other option than to be responsive now. So if you haven't gone down that line with your development, this is the time you should be thinking and planning that into the future of your business. The reason we want responsive web design is because, as I said, you can wrap your website up and make it into an app, put it into the App Store. You don't need to go and create this native thing. You can wrap up your website. And that you're in a good position where it comes not only to the mobile revolution, but to whatever screen comes next. Because mobile first isn't just about mobile, it's about whatever happens down the road that you're ready for. HTTPS. We used to have an argument about HTTP versus HTTPS. Well, that argument's been settled now. The reason for that is twofold. The first reason is that HTTP 2 has been released. So we've been running HTTP 1 since the web began. So HTTP 2 is released and it's faster. So it's better for performance to move to HTTPS. The second reason is that you can't use things like push notifications and progressive web apps if you haven't got an HTTPS website. And I'm pretty sure that everything Google's going to do in the future is pretty much going to put HTTPS as a prerequisite in that development. So make sure you've done that move already. And the last thing is performance. Performance, we've talked about that in terms of getting AMP and moving to some of these toys, but and I think as the AMP developers have said themselves, it's only as good as what's put into it. If you've got a terrible website, massive images, and you put it all into AMP, it won't really make a fantastic end product. You still should be thinking about performance as a separate stream in your business. How you can go through all the optimization techniques, how you can improve the image sizes, how you can improve gzip, how you can do all these different techniques to make your website work faster. People's expectations are going up all the time. I mean, the quote I got there is that 40% of people will abandon a website that takes more than 3 seconds to load. People's expectations are quite high now. So you should already think about a separate performance stream for your business to make sure that even when you're using these techniques such as AMP or progressive web apps, you're making it the best it can possibly be. I'll give you another tip. I don't quite know why that's jumped up to that size. This is something that we've been using at Vodafone, which is tag management. How many people here use a tag manager? Oh, lots of you, brilliant. How many here are using a tag manager to manage your SEO? This is, you can actually, Tag Manager allows you to put snippets of code onto your website remotely. That's what Tag Manager does. The reason you can put anything through that Tag Manager. You can put canonical tags, you can put title tags, you can put schema, you can put absolutely anything you want through that Tag Manager. The reason we've been using it to manage SEO and to use it as a sort of data layer is twofold, really. Firstly, it can be very hard to get the business cases to make these changes. Often you're going to get asked, if I'm going to add all this stuff, all the schema to the site, what's going to be the uplift? So it's a very easy way of you adding a lot of code into the website without worrying too much about the business case. The second reason is this area is changing so rapidly. If you look at something like deep link or deferred deep linking, there's been 3 different solutions that I've seen in the last 6 months. And now it's kind of settling a bit on Firebase. But this area is evolving rapidly. So using something like Telium or Google Tag Manager will allow you to put code in, pull code back out again quite quickly. So it's a good way of kind of managing your entire kind of SEO data layer, and this is why we're quite keen to do it. And it's a great way of not bothering the devs, which none of us like doing. So the final stage is kind of how do you plan? It's planning your long-term mobile strategy. None of this is easy. What we're talking here is an absolute revolution in the way that you handle your website. Most people here, I mean, Dominos have been down that path for several years now. Most of us here haven't got a mobile-first strategy. We got a normal desktop site, and we kind of plugged on a mobile app because we kind of wanted to capture some of that growing mobile audience, didn't we? So this is a different way of thinking. We really have to change our entire website structure to be mobile-first, and I really do appreciate how big a change that's going to be. These tools will make it easier, but you're talking a large change for most enterprises. These are some tips I can give you to kind of make that easier. The first one is ensure that SEO is getting credited for mobile app traffic and conversions. Suddenly you start sending everyone to smart banners, they all go off and download the app, and you find that all this traffic's bouncing, and the SEO team looks rubbish. So make sure that you're getting fully credited with the data for everything that's happening in the mobile SEO space. That's absolutely essential. The second thing is to seek out cross-channel opportunities to support this kind of business transformation. A good example is PPC. People are paying to market and distribute your app through PPC. Well, then maybe you can talk to them and say, well, this is probably something we should be doing through organic. We should be seeing about indexing our app and getting more of this traffic through organic sources rather than PPC sources. We could be sharing those dynamic links with the PPC team. The PPC team can be sending people directly into the app as well. So see where you can get support from different places in the business to get this happening. And realize that SEO, mobile SEO, really kind of aligns to larger KPIs in the business. It kind of comes into line with customer experience. It's far more than just SEO optimization. You're providing a much better experience for users on the website and within your app. So see if you can free up some budget through that door. So that's my summary. So understand techniques that are available to you through mobile SEO. Keep up to date with what's happening. It's a really fast evolving field, so try and keep up to date with the changes in it. And start planning ahead. You've got to get a long-term strategy here. So start working out how you're going to take your business from A to B into this mobile strategy. Because it is a long journey, and there's going to be a lot of developments and a lot of releases in this space in the next couple of years. So thank you. I'm quite happy to take some questions, actually. Yep.